Hello, friends. We are looking at American Heroes, lesson 4.7. Let's go ahead and jump in. All right, for question check-in, let's go ahead and make sure that those listening ears are turned on. Make sure that your eyes are on my screen. You can hold up cactus hands for me. Show me that you're not holding any toys, pencils, markers, anything that could distract you, and go ahead and wave good morning to each other. You can put your hands down, take a deep breath. Let that breath out. Are you going to give this lesson your absolute best? Give me 2 thumbs up. Perfect job. All right, remember that we are recording every lesson that we have here so that you can go back and watch the recording again if you need to. You do need to watch this recording and complete the question at the end, or actually it's the art time at the end to receive credit. All right, so don't forget about our classroom rules. Lesson goals. I can explain why Veterans Day is celebrated. I can identify veterans as people who showed courage and responsibility to the United States. I can make a thank you card to a veteran, and I can explain how communities celebrate holidays. So, one national holiday in the United States is set aside to show gratitude to the many people who have served in the military. People now in the military and those who served in the past are our veterans. They are local people and people from across the country who showed courage and responsibility by joining the military. They are special people because they work to keep the country safe and they protect the people of the United States. We celebrate celebrating Veterans Day is just one way of saying thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and read this book on Veterans Day. So it says Celebrations in My World, Veterans Day. What is Veterans Day? Veterans Day is an annual national holiday in the United States. Veterans are people who have served in the armed forces like the Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and the Marines. This special day honors the men and women who have served in the American military. Veterans Day events are held in communities across the country. Veterans Day is celebrated each year in the United States with parades and other memorial services. Marines carry a wounded soldier during fighting in the Vietnam War. Many veterans will take part in Veterans Day memorial services. Americans show their appreciation for the men and women who risk their lives in service of their country. Did you know Veterans Day is celebrated every year 11th hour of November 11th. This is in honor of in 1918 World War I ended on that day. It says many veterans will take part in Veterans Day memorial services. America at war. The United States has fought in several major wars. In World War I, America fought with Britain and other countries against Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Turkey from 1914 to 1918. In World War II, America joined forces with Britain and the Soviet Union against Germany, Italy, and Japan from 1939 to 1945. American soldiers are in the thick of battle during the Korean War. Between 1950 and 1953, the United States also fought in the Korean War. In 1964, American forces fought against North Vietnam in the Vietnam War. The United States, also helped Kuwait fight Iraqi invaders in the Gulf War in 1991. Today, the United States is involved in fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan. Wow, this book is very old. We are not at war now, so I don't know what year this book was made, but that's old. Many veterans take part in Veterans Day parades. Did you know Veterans Day is for those who have served during wars and for those who protect a country when there is peace? Who are veterans? A veteran is someone who has served in the United States Armed Forces. People in the armed forces are called service people. There are almost 25 million veterans living in America today. Veterans are men and women who have served in the military during wartime as well as during times of peace. The Navy is one of the branches of the United States military. Veterans are men and women who have put themselves at risk to defend or fight for their country. Wars are very dangerous. Former President George W. Bush gives thanks to an American veteran. Countries use bullets, bombs, and other deadly weapons to fight one another. As a result, many veterans are injured in battle, sometimes very badly. Did you know in 2007, 16% of Gulf War veterans were women? I did not know that. The first Veterans Day. The first Veterans Day was on November 11th, 1918, at the end of World War I. It was called Armistice Day. Many Americans died in World War I. Armistice Day became a yearly event in the United States. After World War II, Americans wanted a day to honor all veterans, not just those from World War I. President Dwight Eisenhower officially changed Armistice Day to Veterans Day. In 1954, American President Dwight Eisenhower officially changed Armistice Day on November 11th to Veterans Day. In 1968, Congress moved Veterans Day from November 11th to the fourth Monday in October. But many people wanted to keep the November 11th date for Veterans Day, and in 1978, it was moved back to that date. President Barack Obama honors the memory of American veterans at the Bronze Soldiers Memorial. Did you know? In Canada, November 11th is known as Remembrance Day. Symbols of Veterans Day. Many veterans wear their military uniforms on Veterans Day. They also wear the different medals they earned for serving their country. This helps people to know who veterans are at different events held on Veterans Day. It also shows how proud service people are of defending the United States. Parades are a special time for Americans to show their thanks to American veterans. Homes and businesses often have American flags on display. The poppy flower is usually worn on Memorial Day, but many also wear it on Veterans Day. The poppy comes from the poem In Flanders Fields, which tells of poppies growing among soldiers' graves during World War II. Many children enjoy the parades during Veterans Day in the United States. Since the formation of the United States in 1776, over 48 million Americans have served in the armed forces. That is really beautiful. Veterans Day parades. Parades are a big part of Veterans Day. They are held in towns and cities across the country. Huge crowds of people attend, including children. There are floats, ROTC groups, National Guard bagpipes, and marching bands. Many veterans will also take part in parades. Bagpipes are often part of Veterans Day parades. Excuse me. Military vehicles like jeeps and tanks sometimes take part in Veterans Day parades. Horses are also a common sight. At some parades, military planes fly by overhead. Soldiers are proud to march in Veterans Day parades. In the United Kingdom, people honor their veterans on the second Sunday, of the month, November, called Remembrance Sunday. Veterans Day services. Special services are held at military tombs and monuments on Veterans Day. These events also attract large crowds of people who want to pay respect to service people. Many Veterans Day services will feature a gun salute where soldiers fire rifles into the air. The word veteran comes from the Latin veteranus, which means old. There are speeches and sometimes a gun salute. Many veterans attend dressed in their uniforms. On Veterans Day, there is a moment of silence when people pause to honor the veterans. At some Veterans Day services, the musical piece Taps is played on a trumpet. Veterans Day services involve veterans from many different wars. Unknown soldiers. The Tomb of the Unknowns is a military monument or gravestone. It is dedicated to American soldiers who gave their lives in battle. These soldiers were never identified. Every year on Veterans Day, the President of the United States lays a wreath on the Tomb of the Unknowns. The Tomb of the Unknowns has been guarded all day, every day since 1937. That is incredible. A wreath is laid at the Tomb of the Unknowns every Veterans Day, and that is just so amazing that it is guarded all day, every day since 1937. That is very touching. A special team of soldiers take turns marching in front of the memorial, using exactly 21 steps on each strip. This stands for the 21 gun salute, which is a very special honor given by the military. Wow. Guards walk back and forth in front of the Tomb of the Unknowns. The soldiers who watch over the tombs are called the Tomb Guards. It is one of the highest honors in the military. Veterans Day and Memorial Day. People often confuse Veterans Day and Memorial Day. I often confuse that. Both are national holidays dedicated to military service people. The two holidays are different, however. Memorial Day honors those who lost their lives in battle, while Veterans Day honors everyone who has served in the military. Veterans' grave sites are often visited on Veterans Day. Memorial Day used to be known as Decoration Day. It first began as a day to honor United States soldiers who fought in the American Civil War. For many years, it was held on May 30th. Memorial Day is now held every year on the last Monday of May. At 3 p.m. local time, people across the country pause for the national moment of remembrance. That is very beautiful. Poppies are sold by veterans organizations for Memorial Day. Memorial Day was started as a way to reflect and remember the soldiers who died in the American Civil War. Special monuments. Many people visit military monuments on Veterans Day. These buildings and statues are dedicated to the memory of brave American soldiers. There are many monuments across the United States. One is the Iron Mike statue in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, dedicated to paratroopers. The Iron Mike statue stands at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. A Korean War Veterans Memorial is in West Potomac Park, Washington, D.C. The National World War II Memorial is in Washington, D.C. Some monuments, like the National World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C., are very large and elaborate. The memorial has 56 pillars. Sorry, my picture's blocking some of this. 2 arches, a plaza, and a large fountain. The Freedom Wall in Washington, D.C. has over 4,000 gold stars to honor the Americans who died in World War II. These monuments draw visitors all year long. Helping our veterans. Near the end of the American Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln pledged to help those people injured in battle. He gave a speech promising to take care for him who shall have borne the battle and for his widow and his orphan. Over 600,000 soldiers lost their lives in the war, and hundreds of thousands were injured. Abraham Lincoln worked to ensure that American veterans were appreciated and cared for. That's beautiful. There are almost 6 million veterans today with a disability. The Veterans Affairs building in Washington, D.C., Lincoln wanted to honor the huge sacrifice the soldiers made. Lincoln's words are on plaques at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs in Washington, D.C. The Department of Veterans Affairs provides assistance to military veterans. It gives compensation to disabled veterans, helps with education and home loans, and provides for families of soldiers who gave their lives for their country. Guys, this is very long, but I think I'm almost done. Veterans organizations. Created in 1930, The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs was once called the Veterans Administration. There are also many private veterans organizations that offer support to American service people. American veterans receive, health care and other kinds of support. The Department of Veterans Affairs provides for the husbands, wives, and children of soldiers. Veterans Day is a time for veterans of different wars to meet with each other. There are many different veterans organizations. Some are just for military who are in certain battles or who have served in certain branches of the military. There are some just for members of the Air Force and some for Marines. Many of these organizations work to improve the support veterans receive from the government. Veterans Day in schools. Many schools have special activities on Veterans Day. Some have Veterans Day assemblies with speeches and other performances in honor of American veterans. At many schools, students say the Pledge of Allegiance, play patriotic music, and observe a moment of silence. Speaking with veterans helps students appreciate the sacrifices they have made. Many veterans are willing to come into classrooms and to speak to students. This is a wonderful way for students to learn firsthand about veterans and the amazing sacrifices they make in service of their country. A Boy Scout troop honors veterans' graves at Arlington National Cemetery. In 2001, November 11th through 17th was designated National Veterans Awareness Week. It ended learning about veterans in schools. Getting involved. There are many ways for you to honor American veterans. You could volunteer at a Veterans Affairs hospital, help out with veterans fundraisers, or write a thank you letter to someone in the military. A veteran reads a handmade card. In 1862, President Lincoln approved the Medal of Honor to be given to soldiers who showed special bravery in battle. Many classes make thank you cards and posters for soldiers on Veterans Day. There are also plenty of fun Veterans Day games and activities you and your friends can do. Better yet, you could go to your local library and read about veterans in one of the hundreds of books. We should all take part in this very important national holiday. That was a very long but very informative book. All right, time to try it. So, Veterans Day is a day to remember people from the past who showed courage and responsibility to the United States by serving in the military. How would you show thankfulness? I want you to gather something to write on, something to write with. You can gather a notebook, crayons, markers, whatever you want. You are going to use your art supplies and draw a thank you card that you could give to a veteran for Veterans Day. And if you know of someone who's a veteran, please give this to them. I'm telling you, it would make their entire day if they received this from you. Or if you know of someone that you can mail it to, please do with your Learning Coach's help. It would just make a veteran smile. And when you are finished, you can explain to an adult how communities celebrate Veterans Day. So go ahead and write your thank you card. This is an example here of the cover. So you could do a flag, say thanks. Opening it, you could write your thank you card and have your learning coach help you spell something out. So go ahead and write your thank you card for Veterans Day. And what I would love for you to do is when you're finished with it, learning coach, make sure to take a picture of it, send it to me on Class Dojo via text message or email, and that will be your credit for watching this recording. Okay, so make sure you do that. That is required. You can press pause here. You can press play when you're finished, and whenever your learning coach has sent you that picture, that's when you can press play and we'll continue. All right, I'm assuming that you're finished. This is just a little check-in question that you can answer in your head. Who do we honor on Veterans Day? A, people who serve in the government, B, people who serve in the military, or C, people who teach in public schools? The answer is B, people who serve in the military. See you later, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I know that this was a longer class than usual because the book was longer, but it was actually super informative and wonderful and makes me appreciate veterans more. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.